So we've all played around with chatbots, right? They can write a decent email, maybe summarize a long article. But what if AI could do more than just, talk? What if it could actually do things? Well, let's get into it, because that's exactly what we're talking about with Agentic AI. This is the next big wave. And really, that's the fundamental question driving everything. Right now, we are making a huge leap. From an AI that just passively generates stuff for us, to an AI that's an active partner. One that can actually execute a whole series of tasks to hit a goal that you give it. It's a massive shift, and you can build it with the old tools. Okay, so let's just put a really clear definition out there, so we are all on the same page. Agentic AI isn't a single thing, it's a whole system. It's designed to plan out steps, to reason about what to do next, and this is the most important part, to execute those actions. And the way it does that is by plugging into the real world, using tools and knowledge sources. This is the idea we're going to break down right. So to build one of these agents, you need a blueprint, some kind of architectural backbone. And for a ton of developers out there, that backbone is a framework called LangChain. The best way to think about it is like the conductor of an orchestra, making sure all the different, complex pieces are working together perfectly. The real magic of LangChain is its modularity. Instead of trying to build this gigantic, messy AI application all at once, it lets you construct it from smaller, individual pieces that you can snap together, kind of like Legos. This makes building these incredibly complicated agents way more manageable. So, let's look at how these pieces actually create an AI that can act chains or what let it think step by step. But the real secret sauce is in the agents and the tools. The agent is the brain. It's the loom deciding what to do. And the tools, those are its hands. A web search, a calculator, an API call. These are what let it reach out and interact with the world to get things done. And the retrievers, well, that's how it gets smart. Which leads us perfectly into our next big piece of the puzzle. Okay, so an agent is useless if it's working with bad information, right? A standard LLM's knowledge is basically frozen at the moment it was trained. That is a huge problem. The fix is a technology called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. It's like giving your AI a live feed to an external brain that's always up to date. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. By itself, an LLM's knowledge is static, which is why it can hallucinate, just confidently make stuff up. But when you add RAG, suddenly its knowledge is dynamic. It's grounded in actual verifiable facts. This means you can feed it your company's latest reports or today's financial data, and the agent will use that specific information to make its decisions. It's a total game changer. So how does this actually work? Well, it's this really elegant three-step dance. First, you index your data. You break it down into chunks and store it in a special vector database, which is basically a library organized by meaning, not just keywords. Then when your question comes in, the system retrieves the most relevant little snippets of information. Finally, and this is the crucial part, it bundles your original question with that fresh info and sends it all to the LLM. So the LLM isn't just answering from its old memory, it's answering based on the perfect factual context you just handed it. Okay, so you've used LangChain to build your agent skeleton, and you've used RAG to give it a brain. You've got this amazing prototype that works on your laptop. Now what? How do you turn that into a rock-solid application that dozens of people can rely on? That's where LLM Ops comes in. It's the engineering discipline that makes all this stuff work. In the real world, LLM Ops is basically the set of roles for managing the entire life cycle of these apps, from development to deployment and beyond. And honestly, it is absolutely essential for agents because their behavior can be so unpredictable. An agent might decide to take 10 different actions to solve a problem, and you need a system that can actually handle the kind of complexity without breaking. And this table really shows you why it's so much harder than a simple chatbot. Just look at monitoring. For a chatbot, you just check if the answer was good or bad. For an agent, you have to trace every single decision, every tool it used, every step it took to get to the final answer. If you don't, your agent is a complete black box. You'd have no idea why it just booked the wrong flight or spent your entire budget. LLM Ops is what gives you the visibility and control to manage all that chaos. So now we have our 3 key ingredients. And here's the thing, it's not enough to be good at just one of them. They form this powerful trinity. Each one relies on the others to build an agented AI system that is actually functional, robust, and useful. First up, we have the architecture that's LangChain. This is the skeleton, the fundamental blueprint that lays out how the agent is structured and how all its parts are going to talk to each other. Next, we have the knowledge, and that comes from RAG. This is the agent's brain. Its live connection to the real world, feeding it the accurate up-to-the-minute info. It needs to make smart moves. And finally, we have the process. This is all managed by LLMs. Think of this as the industrial strength production line that takes the agent from a cool experiment to a reliable tool that works at scale every single time. So let's just put it all together one last time. LangChain builds the agent and orchestrates what it does. RAG feeds that agent with the knowledge it needs to act intelligently, and LLMs make sure the whole system actually runs without falling over. You absolutely need all three. This is the core toolbox for anyone who's serious about building what comes next in AI. So we've gone through the how. We've looked at the core components that make agile AI even possible, but that leaves us with a much bigger question. Now that we have this blueprint, how is this powerful new toolbox going to fundamentally reshape everything about how we work, how we create, and how we innovate?